Today, we're going to talk about this term that's never used, this diagnosis that I feel as though has been looked over historically, and this is called the oldest child syndrome. Now, before I get started, I need all the younger siblings to sit this one out. I'm only speaking to the oldest child, and I'm only speaking to the parents. The oldest child syndrome is stress that comes with being the oldest, meaning that you have this expectation of being the perfect role model to your siblings. Not just a perfect role model, but you also got to take into consideration that the parent does not have a manual to how to effectively parent. Therefore, there's a lot of trauma that's poured onto and into the oldest child. Here's why this is important to address. Because if you don't, forgiveness means release and dismissal, but there will be like this arrogant dismissal that's from the parent that we need to talk about. As the oldest child, there is a desperate need for us to hear from our parents that they are sorry. The truth is that as time went on, they became better people, which made them better parents. So how they treat our younger siblings is night and day in comparison to how they treated us. I don't think that it was intentional, but it can look intentional because at some point you got it together. You just didn't get it together during our span of being your child. So as the oldest child, we have to have a certain level of grace and patience and also forgiveness. Forgiveness is extremely important for both parties, both the parent and the oldest child, because that means that there's a necessary conversation to be had that brings closure. But it cannot happen if there's a lack of accountability that the parent was not as effective as a parent with us and with our younger siblings. Naturally, what happens as the oldest is that your innocence is naturally stripped away. Instead of us allowing ourselves to be a child, or the parent allowing us to actually be a child, we end up becoming the caretaker of our other siblings. Therefore, we making sure that their innocence stay there as kids. Then this interesting things start to develop. As the parent continue to become more mature in every area of their life, low-key starts to have this sibling rivalry that you have created amongst the siblings. And it's not on purpose, and we know it. Now that we are older, we can look at it, identify it, and address it properly. But it's something that happens within a household. You start to naturally become a better caretaker, which means you're a better nurturer and naturer and protector of the kids after us. But with us, there has to be a conversation of how you dropped the ball. Your maturity wasn't there, and your capacity wasn't there to be an effective parent. And we all got to understand that. An effective way to address this is to sit down generationally. Well, how that looked is have the daughter, the grandmom, the great-grandmom, have the father, the son, and the great-grandfather. Maybe all 6 people need to be there, and let's have a conversation. If the pastor has to be involved, then allow the pastor to be the mediator. But this is a necessary conversation because oldest sibling syndrome is real. And as the oldest, you could kind of feel like you was outcast, you was looked over, and you are now the black sheep of the family. Realistically, your parent just wasn't mature enough to even be a parent at the time and didn't lean on God properly to show them how to be a parent. So when that conversation is had and forgiveness and reconciliation is truly at the table, then God ultimately gets the glory. Y'all enjoy your day.